What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel Unmanageable, and this is Hard Knox Talks. Tonight's guest, person in recovery, Jamie Downie from Hamilton, Ontario, is here to share his incredible journey, and we are going to meet him right after this. I spent 23 years living in addiction. 16 of those years, I worked as a Red Seal tradesperson in Saskatchewan and Northern Alberta. During that time, I made many mistakes and took more than a few hard knocks. I went from tradesman to business owner to hiding from gang members and dumpster diving. But with that lived experience, I've decided to try and make a change. I've dedicated my life to raising awareness and promoting change in the fields of substance use and psychological health and safety. So join me and my guests as we take off the blinders around mental health in our communities and at work, and shine a light on what's working and what's not working in the fields of mental health and occupational health and safety. I'm Daniel Unmanageable, and I'll be your host, and this is Hard Knox Talks. Okay, before we bring in Jamie, I just want to let you know that tonight's live production is brought to you in part by Prairie Sky Recovery Centre, the Elizabeth Fry Society of Saskatchewan, and Stronger Together Canada, peer-led support groups by Moms Stop the Harm. To learn more about our sponsors, visit www.hardknockstalks.com. Let's bring in Jamie. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, Dan?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. It was Father's Day. Feel blessed. Had my kids and family. No complaints.
Happy Father's Day.
Too as well.
So, yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say before we get started tonight?
Uh, Probably a ton, but I'll just keep it simple. Super happy to be here. Get the message out, maybe save a life or two. And just shout out to Touched by Addiction. Got some team members watching this, and any of my family and friends from Hamilton.
Awesome. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so why don't you start from the beginning, man? What was it like at home growing up?
Well, I came from Hamilton, lived here most of my life, was born here. It's typically a blue collar city, tough city. I wouldn't say that it broke me, but I definitely had some challenges here. Growing up, my dad was a single parent most of his life, old farm boy. He showed his love through hard work. Um, didn't always translate to love, but that's what he knew.
Mhm.
He did his best. Um, with him being a single parent, we kind of had to run of the mill. Like we were on the streets when we were young. I knew all the city buses by the time I was 12. I was into a lot of shit by the time I was 12.
Yeah.
And my dad always had us in sports. He thought that would keep us out of trouble, and it didn't work with me. It worked with my sister.
Oh, yeah.
But
Like not at all, like not even a little bit.
I would say yeah, because those were hours that I was busy. I was occupied, and I wasn't out hanging out with knuckleheads like myself.
Hmm. Was there was there drinking at home?
Yeah, my mom's an alcoholic. She drank in the house when we were younger. I don't remember it, but
Mhm.
alcohol's definitely in the family on that side. So yeah, I would say that we seen it. I don't remember it though.
Yeah. So you say your dad you were your dad was a single parent most of your childhood. Looking back now, do you think that maybe that had a part to play in the path you took?
Yeah, it would definitely be a factor in it. He was a paycheck to paycheck dad, and he worked hard, and as a union carpenter, he was out in Annie and places that were 40 minutes away, sometimes an hour. So we had babysitters and we drove them away fast. And
Yeah.
we got to that age where he would let my older brother watch us, and we did whatever he wanted. He tried. He was a stressed out dad, so he'd come home and do the best he could. And
Yeah.
when he wasn't home, we just kind of acted like teenagers without structure.
Yeah. How old were you the first time you got loaded?
Um, I would say probably 14 or 15. I think it was back, yeah, Colt 45s and Old English.
The good shit.
Yeah, started with the good stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if that didn't teach you not to drink, man, like fuck.
Yeah, you're in for a road of pain if that wasn't the lesson then, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could even drink the cheap scotch, and that didn't even deter me. I hated it, man. I hated it, but it would get the job done, you know.
Yeah.
So, you said you were home with your brother. Was he like, were you guys accomplices? Like, did you guys go off and get into trouble together, or?
Yeah, so once they split, my sister went to my mom's around 12 or 13, and it was just me and my older brother. My younger brother and my sister were my mom's, and I hung out with him and his friends, and they were already at that point where like it was fuck school, smoking pot, drinking,
Mhm.
kind of do what you want, and I liked it, and started smoking pot. I think I was probably 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
Some alleyway by our school. And failed grade six. I didn't care about school. I liked going out and the thrill of getting in trouble. And yeah, so I definitely hanging out with him led to some adventures.
Um. So how did you do in school? Like, did you make friends easy?
And, I would say growing up, we are younger. It was tough growing up. Just older kids picking on you and stuff like that. And I feel like I was bullied up until about grade five, and some kid, this kid Steve Pardiak, tossed me off a swing, and I don't know why. I reacted and laid him out,
Mhm.
and he was an older kid, and switch flipped at that time. Right, I was my eyes lit up. The feeling of people not laughing at you versus like holy shit, look what just happened. And from that point on, I feel like I was always fighting, and I took
Mhm.
on I became a bully essentially too. And I'm not proud of that. And yeah, so I don't know about I mean, like at grade six, once I failed, it was a little tougher. Now you're hanging out with younger kids, and that's if I went to school. I
Yeah.
wasn't really going to school then. So, yeah, it wasn't the easiest time in school. And then my older brother, he went through the school before me, and he wasn't a good kid. So the teachers already knew who I was, and
Oh yeah. So there
treated
was
me
already
accordingly, right?
there was already a bias attached to your name when you showed up.
100%.
So did you graduate?
Um, that's a loose word. I was I got jammed up on an armed robbery when I was in grade eight, and one of my bail conditions was to not be in the city of Hamilton. So I was banned from the city of Hamilton.
Hang on,
I
hang on.
wasn't allowed to
You
go.
got you got conditions when you were in grade 8.
Yeah, banned from the city of Hamilton.
How do you do that in grade 8? What did you do?
I I robbed a variety store, and yeah, it wasn't one of the best decisions I had, that's for sure. And I had already been in a bunch of trouble by then. So when I was bailed out, the judge just said like, one, you're under house arrest, and two, if your mom's going to bail you out and she's out in the country, there's no need for you to be coming into our city unless it's for court or lawyers or stuff like that. And my school was gladly to just hand me my diploma and kind of on you go, don't come back.
Here
So
you go. You graduate. Go away. Be
yeah,
free. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
I
Did
asked to go to the graduation, and they just that was a hard no.
Yeah, there's like, nah, it's okay. You don't need to trouble yourself.
Yeah.
So did you already say the variety store and then I asked you the same thing again because like I was reading I'm sorry, I'm kind of doing two jobs here sometimes tonight. So if I ask you something that you've already answered, just don't be afraid to let me know.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I think I just said I was jammed up on a robbery. I didn't go into
Yeah,
detail, and yeah.
cool. Okay, well, so what next? I mean, you graduate. Um, then what?
So, I ended up going to high school out near where I was. I lasted. Well, let's put it this way: the first day, I was from Hamilton. I was a tough kid, and on the first day, I jammed up the two drug dealers in the school, and that didn't go over well. So I was fighting right there first week, brawling it out at this high school, and I think I lasted a semester. Um, at one point in that school, I was at the office getting suspended,
Uh,
and one of the kids that I robbed, my brother and my sister came in. They're like, "Yeah, he's on the parking lot," and I'm there with my family, getting in shit. So I bolt out the principal's office with everybody following me, like my family, the principal, the vice principal, and I catch him in the parking lot trying to get away in his car, and I got my foot in the driver's side window, just giving him a taste of my shoe, and
uh,
someone was pulling me out. I think my brother's screaming yeah, and the principal screaming no, and it was
what were your
yeah, it
parents
was
screaming?
nuts. It was. I think my mom was scared. My dad, I don't even know. He might have been screaming, "Yeah, beat him up." I'm not sure, but it was nuts. I
Yeah.
got kicked out of the school and went to another high school. I think I got kicked out of there. Called some bomb threats in. Just I didn't care about school.
Mm.
And then I was in and out of jail nonstop. Just hanging out with the wrong people, and I eventually so after grade 8, I got my grade 12 when I guess I'll backtrack. I got sentenced to 2 years less a day when I was 19, and I ended up after a long time finally buckling down when I was in jail, and I got my grade 12.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the time, now when we spoke last week, you mentioned that you were sort of like you were using violence in sort of the same way you were using drugs as a form of escape, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So did you realize that at the time? Did you notice that you would go and get into fights when you started to feel a certain way that you didn't like, or how long did it take for you to notice that this was an escape mechanism for you?
Honestly, it probably wasn't until I was in the detox. I was probably about what am I was 31 or 32, and I put myself in a detox, and they started doing this thing. It's called free fall writing, a form of poetry, and through writing down shit that I was feeling and thinking, I started to realize I was anxious writing that down, and I started getting angry, and then they want you to fucking read it, and that
Mm.
made me so what I was writing down was pretty close to mostly emotions.
Mhm.
And over time and talking with certain people, I started to realize any form of emotion that made me uncomfortable, I would either use or fight, or both.
Mhm. So when you how was prison? Like if you were in and out all the time, like did was there something that you like did you like it in there? Like did you feel like what? Like I don't know, some people when some people go in, they like it in there, and they want to keep going back, So that's just how it is for some people. They need the structure, right? So what was it like for you?
um, to sum it up, I would say I didn't like it, but I could be myself in the sense of like if I was uncomfortable, like I'd pick a fight and then just start fighting to the point where like I'll give you a brief story. I was 19, just got hit with an attempted murder, dropped to aggravated assault for beating someone with a baseball bat. And I go into Barton Street in Hamilton, and I get sentenced to this 2 years less a day, and I end up in a provincial jail. And I came there, and my buddy had a joint, and I knew that you could get a light out there, zapping the outlet of the TV. This is my first day in there, and I went and zapped. They wouldn't give me a lighter, and I went and zapped the TV, and I blew the TV up. And I smoked my joint, and I pissed off everybody on that range. And the next day, I went and put a sheet up on the wall saying I was running a fight club in my cell. Who wants to sign up? And
How do you get away with
I
that?
just well, I got away with it for a bit, and then some fucking bozo wrote about it in a letter, and because they couldn't figure it out. People are walking around the range all busted up, black eyes, and nobody was going to the hole, and they just couldn't figure it out. And someone wrote about it in a letter, and the guards read your stuff, so
Mhm.
I got caught for that. But to say that I didn't like it. I liked it certain aspects that you could, in the street, if I go break someone's face, I'm probably getting charged versus in the jail, I'm going to get like 2 weeks in the hole. And like for me, I wasn't necessarily deterred by the hole. Like I go there, I don't have to see people. I don't really like too many people in there. Just read, work out, sleep, and come back to the bullshit 2 weeks later and do it again.
So you, so what you're saying, it sounds to me like you almost found some comfort in solitude. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It was, for some reason, I guess the way to pick it up was playing lacrosse growing up. I was a tough guy, and it was great to be able to go out and just fight and not go to jail. And then lacrosse is done, and I would usually get in a fight in between that, and get in some trouble or whatever it was. And in jail, like things can pop off anytime, and there's not really repercussions. I mean, even if you kill someone in jail, you're only gonna get like 8, 10 years. Like that's
Only.
crazy. Yeah, I know. I guess I shouldn't say that, but like in the grand scheme of things in Canada, you're probably gonna get hit with like 15 or 20 years for killing someone in jail. 8, 10 years.
Mhm.
It's not that bad, I guess, if you got that mentality. That
Mhm.
was my mentality then. Like I was down with the bullshit. Like I back then there was some strength. When I say like the code, people kept their mouth shut. You stayed solid. You did your time, and I liked that. It was I don't want to say a brotherhood, but like it was something I felt that I fit in. And you go in there and you do your thing, and you're around some real people, and you come out here, and it was just I don't know. It was soft. I didn't fit in. I was always getting in trouble, right? You can go in there and you can act a fool and not get in too much trouble.
Mhm. So tell us a little bit, because you were really good at lacrosse. In fact, your friend Andrew Hanks, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually sponsored you, and you were traveling, and you were. Tell us a little bit about your career in lacrosse.
So I grew up playing since I was 3 or 4 in Hamilton. Was on a travel team pretty quick, and it was good. We had a team it was a dynasty team growing up, and then it's kind of crazy. I just remember this story, but I was in jail for that. It was for that armed robbery, and I was one of the only kids in the jail, with some form of skill, and they were letting me out for tryouts. So I would get out of jail, I would go to lacrosse tryouts for junior B, try out, and then have to go back to jail that night. And
Mhm.
so things were good, and then again that I would say most of the bullshit in my life was had alcohol involved, and there was a rookie party when I was playing junior A, and our captain's brother got his face broke, so I went over and I broke that guy's face a lot worse, and I got charged. They arrested the whole lacrosse team. It was
Wow.
in the news, and then so I got kicked off the team. It was my fault that this all happened. So I kind of got blacklisted at that point for that season, and then I played some more junior B and junior A, and I was fighting a lot. I liked it because back then you could get in 2 fights a game and sit the next one out or buy your suspension out and do it again. And lots of fighting. And I guess the reality is, I was a troublemaker and it was known. So
Mhm.
there's coaches and teams that didn't want to touch me. They didn't want to come near me because I was unpredictable, and I don't blame them. I didn't know what I was going to do. So how are they going to know what I was going to do?
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of picked it up. I played a bit out in Montreal and Quebec and stuff like that. And recently we won the Arena Lacrosse League championship with Six Nations. Andrew, I met through another buddy, and when two lacrosse buddies meet, it's gay. Like,
What?
you know, it's like the, you guys have like you can sit there and talk lacrosse. It's not often you meet another person who plays the same sport as you like that, and
Mhm.
you guys you get along right away, and we clicked, and yeah, he ended up sending me some gear and shooting the shit and sponsored me, and it was pretty cool. It was a good experience.
So when did you notice in all of this that like did you know that the substances were becoming a problem? Like how did you support yourself? How did you keep the drugs coming? How did you pay for your way?
When I was younger, it was more so booze, not a ton of drugs. Not that they were an issue yet at that point.
Mhm.
Once I got out of prison when I was like 21, I did the 2 years, and I would say I had PTSD because like it was nuts. I got kicked out of jail after jail for fighting, sent to anger management, kicked out of there for fighting, sent back to the other jail. And so when I got out of there, I was definitely in some shape or form institutionalized. And I wasn't even really doing drugs then. And then I started doing blow and drinking heavily. And yeah, I ended up just, doing scores here and there, a little bit of work. I was paid in lacrosse to fight.
You were
So,
paid
and
to
then like
fight.
I was, yeah,
Does it pay good to fight?
uh, depends who you ask. I would say like I wasn't paid to fight. I was paid to have conversations with people that turned to fights. I don't want to say they pay me to just go out and fight, but like there was
Yeah.
conversations had. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so
With my
then
fists.
sign language,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so then when drugs came around, like when I was at me and one of my really good buddies, he sold drugs. I more or less just did them. I tended to sell them here and there, and I did more than I sold.
Mm.
So there was that, and then I've always worked a bit. I was always good at construction, and yeah, that's kind of how it went.
So what brought it all to a head? Was it like one pinnacle moment that like did you snap out of it or was it a process?
Oh, it was a process. It was a drawn out process. So as I mentioned before, I went to the detox. I had, came to the end of a bender, was losing my mind, went to the hospital, went to the detox. That was the first time, I had asked for help in any kind of way. I didn't want to show those emotions. I didn't want to show my hand. And so went to the detox and pretty much said like if I leave here and I go back to what I know, I'm gonna die. I was at that point where I didn't care. And the long story short, I got 90 days under me then. I went to a place in Guelph, a transition house, and met a good guy out there. He ended up being my business partner. And I wasn't ready. I went back out after that, after 90 days. And I thought I had hit my rock bottom when I went to detox, and I was so far from that. I ended up going out, and the last little bit, like it was nuts. I was numb inside. I was going through a court battle in family court, and I just couldn't feel anything. And to see if I had anything inside of me still, like I would go to the bar and I would pick a fight with like four or five guys, just either to feel pain or feel the rush or something, right? And by the end of it, throwing Molotov cocktails and just doing some things that I knew the cops were probably going to want to talk to me, and I wasn't willing to go to jail. So I was at that point in time, I was starting to just fall apart. The wheels were coming off the wagon, and
Were you thinking suicide?
so oh yeah, I had attempted suicide. I'd overdosed many times. Death was like I'd plan my funeral 20, 30 times. Never once had I planned a wedding. I had a 25-year life plan. I didn't expect to live past 25. And then when I did, so near that end, I don't think suicide was an option. It was probably going to be drugs, the way things were going. And the last little bit, um, couldn't get more than 2 weeks clean or sober under me. And
Mhm.
for the last year, just heavy drugs, I was addicted to the chaos, and it was more this. And, when the blow runs out, you're going to the next drug and the next drug and the next house. It got to the point where at the end, I was ready to die. I was just like, if the cops pull us over, like, I don't even think people want to be around me. Like, I was fucking spun. I was like, I was in a straitjacket mentally. And yeah, the last day I feel like it was an accident. I didn't really plan to get clean or sober. I had barricaded myself in my bedroom. And like, now let me just bring up the PTSD of having guns drawn on me, picked up in police raids, all the prison stuff, being tear gassed and walking around with not like your brain is warped. And
Mhm.
anyone who goes down to that abuse of like the uppers and stuff like that, like you're just in there, you're paranoid schizophrenic at best. I was just telling my fiance the other day, I'd be in a hotel room staring out the peephole for hours to like my eyes swollen the next day like I got punched, and it's just from me like banging it against the door. Oh, someone's out there, and and just a lunatic. So I ended up barricading myself in my room the last day I used, and the following day I was embarrassed. Couldn't believe I did that. It took me a few hours to get through to my door. And through that, I ended up finding a bag of dope. And my
What do you mean?
my
It took you
best thing,
hang on. It took you a few hours to get to your door? What?
everything in that bedroom was against the door. Everything, like the
Oh.
bed, the like everything.
Mhm.
Just trying to get it off and put it somewhere and move. And I would say it was a good hour and a half, 2 hours it took to unbarricade that door.
Just trying to like
And
put everything, just trying to put like everything back where it was and all normal, and then walk out and just be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
good morning, guys. How's it
Yeah,
going?
yeah. Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, and through that, I ended up finding a bag of dope. And my best thinking at that moment was, well, fuck, I should just finish the dope and then get my shit together, right?
Yeah. I've
Um,
been there. Yeah, yeah.
so somehow I threw it out, and I didn't use. And I was lucky that I had a renovation going on at the time. And I just went to work, and that feeling when you come home and you're like crawling out of your skin, and my usual
Yeah.
thinking would be to just call up one of the boys, and let's go have a drink, or let's go do a line, get a bag,
Mhm.
let's go pick a fight or something, anything but sit in my head with my emotions. And yeah, went to work the next day, came home, did the same thing, and I didn't meet up with anyone. I didn't call anyone. I just stayed home and toughed it out. And it was hard. And strung together a week and then 2 weeks. And at this point in my life, I had never gotten past 2 weeks clean and sober. I would
Mhm.
try.
Mhm.
That first week, you can't eat, you're starting to eat a bit, you're sleeping. The second week, you've gone to work, you got a bit of money, you forgot how bad it was, the suicidal thoughts. And
It's
it
shocking how
was
fast you forget, isn't it?
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put that into words. Like it's like the Men in Black when they zap your brain with that
Yeah,
thing,
man.
and you just I forget,
Yeah. I don't know how many
So
times I don't know how many times I got to day 3. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
then suddenly, oh, I just need a break from this withdrawal. So,
yeah,
and then
just this
off,
one time, right? I was
yeah,
just
and then off you go again. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
would say, and then at that point, how I made it through that, well, it was an accident. Next thing I know, I kind of looked at my phone. So I got clean and sober by accident. It's now probably about 16 days. And I looked at my phone and I was like, holy fuck, it's been 2 weeks. And I was blown away because like I knew that 2 week marker. I've been fighting that 2 week marker for years. And so I got past that and went to work some more. I was doing AA. I had some good people there. And yeah, I would say that 4 week mark, I went back to my group. I got my 1 month pin, and it meant something. It was heavy. It was hard to get to that 1 month.
Mhm.
And it went from there 2 months, 3 months. And I would say the biggest thing for me was I just tried to stay busy so the demons in my head didn't get at me, right? Those first couple weeks are hard to not pick up the phone and call the boys like, yo, I want to meet up or whatever, right? Most of the people you have in your life at that time are probably not someone you should be calling when you're trying to get your shit together.
Yeah. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about your experience with the program. Like, did you do the suggestions? Did you get a sponsor and steps and things like that?
Yeah, I went in. Oddly enough, my first AA group was called the Acceptance Group.
Mm,
And boy, did I have some accepting to do. And
mm,
from there, once I came back to Hamilton, I joined another group, got a sponsor, started going through the steps. And I think this is right when COVID hit. So it kind of screwed things up a lot. And I didn't make it through the 12 steps. I've been working on it. My recovery, a lot of it's been based around the men's detox here in Hamilton, going down there and being honest with some other people that are down and out, and just doing some poetry. Pete and Nancy, they go down and they put this thing on. It's called free fall writing. It's a form of poetry they do once a week, and I jumped in and kind of helped co-facilitate it, and it keeps me honest. I've been able to deal with my emotions through that. Writing some. Man, if I were to pull out my writing, it's here somewhere from when I was in detox, like whatever it was, 4 years ago or something like that. It was dark. It was just sad, right? And I
mhm,
still go down. I keep all my writing and the emotions that I've been able to put on paper and not turn to booze or fighting or anything, and just kind of be honest with myself and talk about them. That was the big part, was reading your poetry after. And you're in a group with like 5, 6 guys, and I would say more often than not, you get teary eyed, or they're crying, or it's raw
mhm.
and it's real. And I feel that I do better with that. Um, I would like to get my 12 steps done, and just to have something that I can talk about when I'm trying to help other people. Whether that's what they need is the 12 steps, or maybe it's poetry or whatever. I'd like to be able to have that knowledge to help them.
Yeah. So when you go back now and look back at your journey, and when you're writing, like, what are some of these things that you're writing about? Like, have you discovered what it is that you've been running from all this time?
I would say emotions. The biggest thing for me, and I think this goes back to my dad and my childhood, is he was a farm boy, and he worked hard, but what he was taught as a kid, like, is that typical, don't show your emotions, don't cry, you just work, provide for your family. And I'm so grateful he did that, because he taught me work ethic, but I didn't know how to deal with emotions. And neither does he. He still doesn't know how to. And through poetry and writing and just being honest with myself, I've been able to talk about, my aunt was murdered and my buddy was murdered a week apart. And I never talked about that. I never grieved that. I just went out and fought in the bars and abused drugs. And I've been able to kind of work through that in the detox. And I had another good friend who was suffering an addiction, was shot up by the cops. Very sad situation. And typically I wouldn't want to talk about that. And that day, um, it's crazy. There was a backdoor AA meeting in a garage, and I was like, "Fuck that! I'm not going." My buddy and his child were just shot by the cops.
Mhm.
So I was lost for a bit there, driving around aimlessly, and then I ended up at this meeting. And what are the odds that there's a cop in there? He's struggling with substance abuse himself, and you couldn't make that shit up. I I ended up in this meeting, we ended up talking, and he's sitting there saying how he's an officer. And I mean, like, if I could have reached across and beat the wheels off him, I probably would have, just to um, decompress how I normally would. And we're buddies now. We talked. Me and my sponsor that day, he's like, man, you can't make that up. Like, what are the odds you're putting in a room with a cop on the same day this happened to your friend? Uh, it gives me goosebumps still.
Yeah. Yeah. So through all of this, were there ever any relationships? Did you have girlfriends during all of this time?
Yeah, like in the beginning, um, like I said, emotions were big things. So like relationships were rocky at best. I was always disappearing on benders and just doing whatever I wanted to do. I was selfish. So things didn't work out. And then oddly enough, I actually one of the people on in the Facebook chat right now posted something about one of her friends having an apartment that she wanted to sublet, and there's me. I think I was like 3 weeks off a bender, 3 weeks clean and sober at this. That was big for me, and I was like, hey, you know what, I gotta change the scenery and try and get out of this place. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll go view this apartment. Like, I didn't have money to rent an apartment. I didn't even know if I was going to be around the next day. So I go view this apartment, and I meet my current fiance, and it's been nuts. That relationship started out with some crazy stories over dinner, just kind of where I've been in life, and it didn't deter her. And now we're getting married. I think it's like 3 weeks from now. We got a beautiful daughter. We got her son and my son. We got a nice little family. So it's crazy because like we two broken people met, and we built something beautiful from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, how old is your son?
My son's 5 and my stepson's 4, and our daughter's 7 months now.
How is your relationship with the kids?
They're amazing. I would say first and foremost, my stepson. Back when I met my fiance, I didn't have I was in a big family court battle. I still am, but I didn't have my son around me due to my substance abuse and the way I was living my life. And having first met my fiance, her son was around, and it stirred up the inside of my stomach like there was no tomorrow. Like emotions that, like, one, I didn't have my son with me, and just emotions in general. But and he looked a lot like my son, and I owe a lot to him. He doesn't know it, but like that boy got me through. He got me through a lot in those early days. A lot of growth inside. Those uncomfortable feelings. Like, I'm choked up right now talking about it.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
But they so he helped me get through some tough days. Helped me grow inside in ways that you couldn't measure.
Mhm.
And now with my stepson, or with my son, things are great. I've been battling away in family court to going from supervised visits, a year and a half or almost 2 years of drug testing, um, thousands of dollars. But I
Mhm.
started, like I said, supervised visits to, getting him on the weekend supervised to, it's about 60-40 right now.
Mhm.
I had him yesterday and today for Father's Day, which was unreal. And on that note, to any, I know I got some buddies watching right now going through some similar stuff. Any dads out there that are struggling, even moms, if you're struggling and going through the substance abuse thing and family court, it's possible. When I met my lawyer, and when I started to try and fight to get my son back, I kind of gave her the rundown of the backstory of my life, and she literally sat back and sighed, and I was like, you need a drink? So um, it was an uphill battle, and I did
Yeah.
it. I'm still fighting for more. So just anyone out there know it's possible if I can do it. And I mean, I probably gave them one of the hardest hands to deal with.
Mhm.
It's doable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can relate. Um, so tell us what it's like today. Like when you are, so you started a construction company, Blue or Royal Blue, correct?
Yeah, Royal Blue Construction.
Correct. Okay. So, um, what do you do when your thoughts go sideways today? Like, give it like, do you have tools? Do you have ways of thinking? Like, what are your triggers? Like, do you know when you're triggered right away? Are you able to step back from it? Tell us how you walk through that.
Well, I would say uh, when my thinking goes to shit, like if the demons inside of me, like they're still there. I
Yeah.
don't know that they'll ever go away. Um, when they get fired up, I try to be honest with myself. Like you can't compress that. There's something going on. It's not wrong to get angry or sad or frustrated or depressed. You know, that's part of life. You can't go through life, you know, living in the clouds every day. You know, there's gonna be highs and lows.
Hmm.
And I accepted that. I guess the key word is acceptance. And I have a mentality that when things go to shit, that's fine. You know, there's a lesson being presented to you. Um, it's either a lesson or a blessing. And at the end of the day, like, you know, if I'm at work and things aren't going wrong, or aren't going right, I've sat down there on the job site and it's like the wind came out of my sail and I'm depressed, I'm mad, I'm fucking angry. And I've told myself you're not going to spend more than 10 minutes, you know, maybe an hour tops wasted. You know, you can sit there and cry and mope and scream or be angry or, you know, type stupid shit out on your phone. Just don't send it. It's
I've done
fine to
that.
do that.
I've done that. Like a whole long one, and then you delete it, and then you write another one, and then then you delete
Yeah,
it. Yeah, no, I've done that.
yeah, yeah. I used to hit send. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna show you. And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
got brought up. They got brought up in family
yeah,
court.
yeah. Oh,
Let's leave it at that.
you showed them all right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I showed the judge what's really going on in my head.
Yeah, yeah. The gift for
So
you.
yeah, I would say at that point I've been really good at capping it at that 10 minutes. Okay,
Mhm.
have your little hissy fit.
Mhm.
At that point you need to start talking about solutions, whether it's with yourself mentally. Self talk's huge, obviously. Uh, you know, I talk out loud on my job sites. What's the solution, right? Like obviously there's a problem. Problems happen all the time in life, in business, and there's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is control how fast you get to your solution. Go network, talk to the right people. You know, I've had times where I've been burned for like 5 grand at work. My first thought was I'm gonna blow her house up, right? Like she doesn't know who
Yeah,
she's screwing with,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you know I go through that psycho thought process, and then by the end of it, I'm still working on her house, giving her top notch work because that's the inside of me. You know, do the right thing and just don't blow her house up. You know, you can have that thought, just don't do it.
I don't think I've ever woken up and been like, just don't blow her house up.
Oh man, I would
Maybe
say,
just don't send that text. Maybe.
yeah, don't send that text, don't
Yeah,
blow that house up, don't
yeah,
blow that car up.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I got some people that I need to be here for. You know, I got kids and a
yeah,
family that I fought so hard to, you know, be here with, and I'm not gonna let some problem at work or in life, you know, take me away from that.
yeah. Cool, man. Tell us about Touched by Addiction.
Touched by Addiction is we're an organization. Um, I would say we're based out of, but you know, I can't even say Ontario because we got some people on the West Coast now, tomorrow.
Mhm.
And essentially, there's a group of us, and what we do is we have merchandise like this and our hat. We sell them to, and the proceeds help put people into rehab and treatment, and just kind of give them a shot, see if we can save a life. You know, it's
Yeah.
the least that I can do. You know, I had a lot of time to run around on benders and stuff. I got a bit of time where I can kind of get back now. So
Yeah.
essentially, we started out with merchandise, starting to do that, and we got it in a store here in Hamilton, Wentworth District. One of my buddies has a store down at Jackson Square. He's got some of our gear in there, and then actually Andrew Hinks is working on getting some out there in Saskatchewan. And that's our goal, is just to end the stigma around addiction and talk about it, be vocal, sell some merch, save some lives. We're working on getting some speaker panels going together where we can go into treatment centers and schools and stuff like that, and just kind of share a bit of our story and our, maybe we can guide one or two people out of the life, right?
Yeah. Have you sent anyone yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's people reach out often. One of our team members is working through to be a pastor, and he's heavily involved with people reaching out on his end. Same thing with the guys here in Hamilton, even out on the West Coast. So it's been pretty cool. There's actually been a summit on the West Coast tomorrow. One of our team members out there had her own thing going, and she had a summit of speakers where some of the money was going through to help TBA and get the next person into treatment. So it's an ongoing thing. I would say weekly we got people reaching out, asking for help.
Where can people find you?
We're on all social media. We got a website. People can get a hold of me and my family or friends. Yeah, I would say those are the big ones, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think we're on Twitter as well. Websites.
Cool, man. Well, did we miss anything? Is there anything else you'd like to say before we put a cap on this?
Anyone else there that's struggling? I guess for me, the biggest thing was my ego. That's what prevented me from asking for help. Just reach out. You can ask someone, like, we're real, myself or any of the, Dan or any of the TBA people. Even just your local treatment center, just reach out and ask. You're not going to be judged. Typically, whoever's in there answering that phone was in the same position. So just put your ego aside and reach out, and it's possible. Recovery it's there. It's one day at a time. It's not something given to you. You got to work at it every day. And yeah, it's there.
Awesome, man. Okay, well, I guess that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience with us, spreading a little hope, and we'll see you again. Take care, my friend.
You too, buddy.
There's power in numbers. If you would like to contribute to ending the stigma around emotional pain, please subscribe to our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. Like and comment your thoughts on our posts. Find us on all audio podcast platforms. Let us come together with our lived and living experience as a resource that has the power to engage new thought processes, to promote new ideas, to broaden the spectrum of care, and to show the world the lie is dead. We can recover. There is a safer way, and we're here to show you how. If you would like to see everything we have to offer, visit www.hardknockstalks.com. Take care, everyone. Good night.